Welcome back to Kiss Electric. Today we're going to discuss and tell you guys how to wire a bedroom. This is going to be a rough end part of the video. We're going to talk about the code requirements for the 2020 or the 2023. Both of them are going to be within the scope of explanation of how to wire up a bedroom, a rough end part of a house. We're going to eventually get to the whole part of the house, but in this video in particular, we're going to do just the bedroom. So when you're thinking about your bedroom, you want to kind of have an idea of how it's going to lay out. All right, first is the door. When you come into the door, which way does the door open? Is it a left or a right open door? Now, if you have plans, you'll see on the plans which way the door opens. In this case, the door is, the way I do it is I put my back where the hinge is going to go, and then it's going to be a right opening door. Okay, I'm not a carpenter. There's probably going to be some carpenters in there tell me a different way, but this is the way an old school guy had told me. So you put your back on the hinges and open it up. All right, so it opens up with the right hand. So it's going to open up into the room, and with that, you'll want the switches on the other side of so the switches aren't behind the door. All right, now as far as heights are concerned, according to the code, there really isn't a specific height to put these switches in. Just whatever you feel comfortable with. Now there is a building code about a specific height for handicap accessible areas, and these can be no higher than 48 inches. However, the way I do it, and we have been doing it for a while, I'll do 48 inches to the bottom. But on the building code, it says 48 inches to the top on handicap accessible areas. So we put our switch, our 2-gang switch box in. I'll show you why we've done that in just a moment. So come on in here. Now, as far as receptacle placement is concerned, I know we have some of the receptacles already nailed up and installed, and some of them wired up. However, this room is not quite done, but we're going to finish it today. The receptacle placement is, in the code, it says for every 6 foot of wall and starting at every 2 foot. If there's a wall space with 2 foot, it gets a receptacle. Now, if there's 6 foot, it needs to have one according to code. And then, of course, the doorway will break that up as far as wall is concerned. So when the door opens up, this one's not quite going to be behind it. I know there's one, this area here is 2 foot, so we could put one there or there. Okay, I wanted it inside the room more so. So with the receptacle placement, it's 6 foot, but no further than 12 foot apart. Okay, so this one will also serve in this area. Now, come on in. Now, on this little wall space, we got a TV. We're going to do coax or Cat 5. The homeowner hasn't decided what they're going to do yet, but we'll get that installed. We got another receptacle right here in this one, and then over to here, between this one is less than 12 foot. So on this wall. Also, I want to make note that depending on how you want your bed to lay out, I preferably would like a receptacle for my nightstand on both sides of the bed for his and hers. Now, guys that are married, you might want to consult with your wife and make sure she's going to have the furniture placed in the area where she deems fit. Okay, not always do we get our way, but a lot of times in house and the way things are decored and color on the walls and everything like that, you better ask your wife. So anyway, I like to put them on there. This is still within code. That way you don't have a receptacle in the middle of where your headboard is going to go. Depending on where the headboard is, we in this room specifically laid receptacles in between the headboard, even on this side. But on this wall in particular, it is long enough to be able to get 2 in there. We did within 6 foot from this wall length, and then 6 foot from that wall length to put receptacles in. Then we had another one that goes right here on this corner because this was more than 2 foot. Now, as far as lighting is concerned, in this particular house, we have disc lighting is what we are using. So the HVAC guys kind of beat us to the punch here on the rough end part. So we had to block it out. That way the disc lighting and the registers trims do not conflict as far as space is concerned. So we had to put some spacers, some wood up here to kind of push that light back. And we did our measurements on it, and it's going to work out just fine. So we got 4 disc lights in here, and also we're going to have 1 ceiling fan. Now, to get our measurements on this ceiling fan, this bracket you can find at Home Depot or Lowe's or your local electrical supply house. And this thing is rated for 50 pounds. Now, I know ceiling fans typically don't weigh 50 pounds, but you want one that is sufficient in durability, and it's meant for ceiling fans. They make different types of ceiling fan boxes, but this one in particular is the one we like using. So what you do is you just get the measurement of the room width and length. So you do the width, get your measurement. Let's just say it was 200 inches wide. Divide that by 2, and then it gives you 100 inches. You make a mark, and then on the same thing on the length, whatever it is, let's say this 200 inches, 100 inches is divided by 2, and then you just make a mark, and then you put it right where it goes. Now, some people will say, well, I got to have it exactly. There are ways that you can get this exactly in the center of the room. I'm going to tell you, if it's off an inch or something like that, it's not going to be a big deal. So if the stud lines up, or the ceiling joist or ceiling truss or whatever lines up right in the direct center, if you're off just an inch, it's not going to make that big of a deal. And then one other thing in this code, smoke detectors. We have smoke detectors that are here that we put in on the entrance of every bedroom, hallway, and living room. Aside from that, code does not require us to put any other smoke detectors, and you definitely don't want to put a smoke detector that is in the kitchen, because if somebody's in there cooking and they let it burn a little bit too much, or they just the way it is, then the smoke detectors in the entire house will go off because they're all electrically connected. Let's see if I can remember if there's anything else. Oh, on this switch, on this particular switch, I was talking about the 2-gang switching. We're going to have 2 switches. One is going to be for the lights, the can lights, and we wrote down here, and one's going to be for the fan. In this particular application, the fan will not have a light kit, so that's why we're going to have one for the can lights and then one for the fan. So if you wanted to go ahead and do a 3-gang here, which I would, but the homeowner here doesn't, so that way you can have a switch for the can lights, a switch for the fan light, and then a switch for the fan motor. But in this case, this is what they want, is the 2-gang, just one for each. So with that being said, I think we're going to conclude this, and this is how you lay out a bedroom in a new construction according to code. And I think what we'll do is we'll pull a home run. One last thing, we're going to pull a home run back to our panel, which is on the opposite side of the house. We'll pull 1 home run per room. Keep all the wire that's from that home run in this bedroom to keep. If something happens, we know where we need to look for it. We know it's just going to be in a specific area. Not that anything happens, but sometimes a joint comes loose, or a light's out or something like that. We don't have to go in another part of the house to look for it, because some electricians will wire kind of funky ways, but the way we do it, 1 home run per room, and it seems to simplify everything. And I like to keep it simple. You know what I mean? All right. Thank you for watching.